We have with us today the enterprising CEO of UTV, Mr. Siddharth Roy Kapur, and we'll talk about year 2010 with him. First of all, pleasure having you in Bollywood Hungama.
Thanks for having me.
I think you guys are having some really big films that are coming up in 2010, like Vishal Bharadwaj's Saath Khoon Maaf and Sanjay Leela Bhansali's Guzaarish and a whole lot of others, even Maar Khan Productions co-producing two films. Peepli Live already is making waves. You feel that by the end of year 2010, UTV will be on top?
Being on top means actually talking about the competition, which we don't do. We don't really think movies is a competitive business. You just should make great movies and you get out there and you hopefully have your movies click with audiences, and that's really what we should be doing. We should all be focusing our efforts on making great movies. So being on top or not being on top, I'm not sure about, but I know that we've got a lot of entertainment in store for audiences, so we're very, very excited about that.
Your films like Guzaarish, I think must be a biggie. It's like
Absolutely.
It's a Sanjay Leela Bhansali film and Hrithik Roshan, Aishwarya. What exactly is Guzaarish all about?
We're really happy to be working with Mr. Bhansali, and of course a cast like Hrithik and Aishwarya. It really doesn't get bigger than that. I wouldn't like to say too much about the film right now because I'd rather leave that to Mr. Bhansali and to the cast at a point of time when we start the promotions for the film. Right. But yes, it will definitely be a film worth waiting for.
Okay, Saath Khoon Maaf, Priyanka Chopra, I think after Fashion was UTV. 7 husbands she's having, and you guys have shot in Kashmir. I think it doesn't get bigger than that.
It's a very, very exciting film. Vishal, of course, is such an exciting director because he always comes up with something new and intriguing and different and quirky and very, very commercial at the same time. Priyanka's got the role of a lifetime, and I'm very, very sure that she's going to deliver a fabulous performance once again after Fashion.
Another biggie that is coming up is Rajneeti, and you're having a huge star cast, and Prakash Jha, well known for his just whipping up the drama and theatrics in all his movies. So how excited are you about Rajneeti?
We're extremely excited about Rajneeti. Rajneeti is one of the most ambitious projects we've made so far. I mean, it's really Mr. Jha's magnum opus. To put together a star cast of that nature and tell a story of the sort that he is trying to tell in the film requires a tremendous amount of skill. I think someone at his caliber and with his experience at this time in his life has managed to put this film together that I really think will be the crowning glory. And the sort of scale that he shot the film on, the entire production and the quality of the film is at a very, very superior level. So we're very, very excited about it. We think it's going to create a lot of excitement, and we've been getting great feedback on the film so far.
You've had this past experience with Jodha Akbar and where certain factual kind of things came about and certain controversy was created. And now there are rumors about Katrina Kaif playing the real life Sonia Gandhi. Are you foreseeing any kind of controversy which may erupt because of that or anything of that sort?
I think we're in an environment where there's a lot of sensitivity on a lot of issues. Movies that probably would not have even come into the public eye in the past in terms of stirring up controversies today do tend to get controversial. I mean, a Wake Up Sid is one example of a film like that. Right. So I really don't think that if you're in the movie business today, you can avoid offending someone somewhere at some point of time. And of course, we take all the efforts to ensure that we try not to. But there will be times when we do offend someone. We're quite clear that we've taken every effort to be as authentic and as true to each of our films as possible. Right. And Jodha Akbar was one of the most meticulously researched films, and all the credit for that, of course, goes to Ashutosh Gowarikar. But there were really no factual inconsistencies there at all, and we still stand by that. Rajneeti is really the story of the Mahabharata retold in a political setting. That's what the film is based on, and each of the characters, you'll realize when you watch the film, has a resonance with the characters from the Mahabharata. So I don't really see any issue coming up there because that is one of our greatest epics, and we're basically retelling that story in the modern day.
Talking about Wake Up Sid, another film that you're doing with Karan Johar is I Hate Luv Stories, and seems to be a very interesting kind of concept, and I think perfect film for a multiplex audience.
I actually think it's not just a multiplex film. It's a film for anyone who is young at heart and who enjoys romance and who enjoys music. And I think that's pretty much the entire population of this country. It will definitely be a very youth-oriented film in that sense, but it's really for everyone who has ever been in love. And of course, the films that Dharma Productions makes and just the whole experience of working with Karan is so fabulous. Sure. It really is a great collaboration on the film, and we're very excited about it.
And I believe it's a bit of a take on Bollywood and Karan Johar and Aditya Chopra.
Yeah, I'll leave that to Karan to explain in detail, but yes, we've had a lot of fun with the film, and it's all in good humor, of course.
Definitely, and we've personally seen a few of the pictures. They're looking very vibrant. Another very interesting film is No One Killed Jessica, because you're having a powerhouse performer like Rani Mukherjee and Vidya Balan. Both of them are outstanding performers. The director is the guy who made Amir for you earlier, Rajkumar Gupta.
That's right.
So what is No One Killed Jessica? I think it's a real life story.
Well, it's a film that's very, very close to our heart. That's a film that we've really nurtured and developed together with Rajkumar now for the last 2 years. Since the time that he made Amir, this was a thought that we had in our minds that we wanted to make a film on this entire episode. And we've been nurturing it, working on the script together with him for years now. And to be able to get two performers, as you said, of the quality of Rani and Vidya is really a dream come true. We've got the perfect casting for the film, and I have to say it's one of the best scripts that I've read in my time here at UTV. So I think we've got something very special in store.
How factually accurate is it? Do you feel that there may be certain sections of the media or whatever who may come up with these things that it's not exactly the truth the way it happened?
You know, as I said, I think it's very...
Well, the media has been very supportive of Jessica's case.
Sure. You know, it is a story really about the power of the people at the end of the day. That's really what the focus of the film is all about. And the power of the people to actually get things to happen in our country. I wouldn't really like to get into the factual inconsistencies or consistencies of films because, you know, that really is debatable. What I do want to say is that it's a film that's written from the heart. It is being performed from the heart. And I don't think that any Indian would have any issue with what we are speaking about in the film.
In fact, all the candle vigils and everything that took place for Jessica, it came from Rang De Basanti, and that was a UTV film.
Yeah, I don't think we like to take credit for that entirely.
But I think it happened immediately after.
I think what did happen is that Rang De Basanti probably ignited a spark for something that was already there. I think a lot of people already felt that they needed to be doing something. They just didn't have an outlet to express it. I think Rang De Basanti gave a visual imagery to how they could express the feelings that they were having. I don't think we like to take credit for actually people's feelings. We can take a little bit of credit for the way that it was actually demonstrated.
UTV has a very successful relationship with Amir Khan, and now you are co-producing two of his productions, which is Peepli Live,
that's right,
directed by Anusha Rizvi, and Delhi Belly, directed by Abhinay Deo, which stars Imran Khan once again. So what is that association all about?
That's an association that we're very, very proud of. It's always great to work with Amir. You learn so much from him. I think in the entire course of working with him, we've gained a tremendous amount. These are both films that really come from him completely and come from the heart as far as he's concerned. Two fabulous scripts. Of course, the first one is Peepli Live, which releases in August. That's already gone to the Sundance Festival.
August now.
That's right. August 13th is what we're looking at. That's already gone to Sundance. Was very, very well accepted. There was the first Indian film ever to be accepted at the Sundance Festival.
And in the competition section.
That's right. Really looking forward to that film. And then we've got Delhi Belly either later this year or early next year.
There's a perception that at least I think both of these movies, they are more of a festival kind of circuit. But there are also reports that Peepli Live is a very entertaining film as well.
I think festival films have got a bad name. I think festival films can be entertaining as well.
In terms of box office response.
I know what you mean. I think we used to call them art films a few years ago, but they're definitely not that. I can tell you that Peepli Live is a complete entertainer which makes you think, which all films that come from Amir Khan do. That as well as Delhi Belly is an all-out crazy caper. It's not going to go to too many festivals. It's definitely going to have a lot of packed houses in theatres.
And it's totally in English. So
that's right.
There must be a certain release strategy that you must be having.
Yes, that's something that we are devising currently, and it will be very interestingly marketed as well as distributed.
Talking about, say, a couple of years for UTV, I think 2008 was a fantastic year for you guys, both, I think, critically as well as commercially. You had a Jodha Akbar and you had a Mumbai Meri Jaan, amazing film, and you had a Wednesday and you had a Welcome to Sajjanpur, and I think both commercial as well as fashion was there.
Sure.
2009 was not that successful for UTV, and I think except for a Kamine or something, you haven't really started this year on a very positive note. Chance Pe Dance hasn't really kind of worked and all. So how do you look at that kind of bit of a dip that has taken?
I think 2009 was a mixed year for sure. Though having said that, we did have a Kamine, we had a Devdi, and we had a Wake Up Sid. Three very, very successful films. On the other hand, we had some films that did not do well.
Because 2008, I think it was a 100%
sure,
record.
No, it was a great year. Sure. The thing is, it is a movie business at the end of the day, and there are some choices that you'll make or some creative decisions that you take that might not go down well with audiences. But we stand by all our decisions. We stand by all our directors and all the filmmakers that we work with on each and every one of our movies. I mean, if it was something that the audiences didn't accept, we'll try to do better next time. I don't think we can expect a 100% record when it comes to tapping into what exactly the audience expectations are, or otherwise we'd only be making successful films. But I think what's important is that we have a commitment to the industry. We know that this is some place that we're here for the long haul. We want to keep making movies. So we'll take the rough with the smooth. We'll have a few good years and we'll have a few not so good years, but that's fine.
One thing that has been observant about UTV is that you guys lay a lot of emphasis on the creative aspects and the critical aspects of the film. That the film has to be creatively likable as well. It's not merely, it has to be commercially viable all the time. How do you kind of strike this balance between the commercial aspects and the creative aspects?
At the end of the day, a film has got to be commercially successful. I think that's the reason a film is being made in the most part, is that it is not purely art for art's sake. It is a business. If you can make a commercially successful film that you're very, very proud of creatively as well, what's the harm? And that really should be the aim, and that should be the idea, that you're giving audiences something new, something fresh, something interesting, regardless of the genre. So our real objective is to provide someone with entertainment that they would not have expected otherwise. Sure. So as soon as they see a UTV logo on a film, they should think, okay, I don't know exactly what genre of film I'm in for, but I know it's going to be very interesting and different. And that really is the endeavor. Sometimes we'll succeed, sometimes we won't succeed, but that's what we try to do always.
Now, talking about the logo that you said of UTV, there's a bit of a confusion that at times it is UTV Spot Boy and at times it is UTV Motion Picture. So what exactly is the difference over there?
Actually, UTV Spot Boy is a label that we've really branded a few of our movies that we think are pretty cutting edge and different and edgy. And movies that probably would maybe not even have been made a few years ago, that we have, actually invested our time and effort in sort of making those movies. So a Dev D or a Welcome to Sajjanpur or an Amir, these are the sort of movies that we believe would come under the UTV Spot Boy label. It's a brand that we would give to movies that we consider to be slightly out of the norm.
There has been a certain kind of, trend, in the last 2 years that certain movies were kind of bought at a very high price. The entire pricing structure after that, it just kind of went for a toss. So what kind of policy does UTV has in terms of the pricing, how you kind of buying a certain film, or even because I believe you're into distribution as well. And I think you've had a certain bad experience with Kurban per se, that I think the kind of price that you bought it for and the collections it finally had.
Specifically on Kurban, I wouldn't go by the numbers reported in the media, honestly speaking. Yes, it might not have been a film that was very well accepted by audiences, and we do accept that. But having said that, it's an overall relationship with Dharma Productions. We believe that in the long run, that is a relationship that will definitely be beneficial. Coming to the prices of movies, yes, I would say that definitely acquisition prices had gone through the roof a few years ago. Having said that, we're a company that's into production as well as distribution. We pretty much produce or co-produce our own films completely. There might be the odd film that we look at as an acquisition, but really this year, if you look at it, all our films are productions or co-production. When it comes to production costs, yes, they need to be rationalized. There's no doubt about it. I think we need to look at every aspect that really comprises production costs and look at being able to make those as efficient as possible. Making a great quality film at the right cost is really the key to being able to make this a profitable business.
Definitely. In fact, that's what we saw in 2008, and most of your movies, be it Mumbai Meri Jaan and Wednesday, I think the pricing factor definitely worked a big way, because I think all of them, they did commercially reasonably well.
Sure.
And after that, all the television rights and everything, they come into the picture. We had the studio kind of system earlier in Indian film industry. Even I would say South, it was there. Gradually, it just kind of started shifting towards independent filmmakers. But now it's once again shifting more towards the studio thing as well. So how do you see the future? Is it going to be more the studio system, or independent filmmakers will be there as well? Or will it be a balance over there?
I think you'll always have the independent filmmaker, because you'll always have producers who make 1 or 2 movies a year. But those 1 or 2 movies are the movies that they put their heart and soul into, and that is really never going to go away. And it's great if it never does go away, because those are really passion projects. Those are movies that are being made by people who've been in the business for years and who really know how to put a project together and make a great film. What I do believe is that on the distribution side of things, you are definitely going to be seeing a consolidation, which we are already seeing in the last few years, where you'll have maybe 4 or 5 major players looking after 80% of the market in terms of distribution. They'll be producing their own movies, some of them who are into production, but they'll also be working with a lot of the independent producers on their movies. And that's really the way that it's going to evolve.
Something about the home video segment. I think UTV was active in that till a certain time back, but apparently I think you guys are not into it right now.
We actually had launched a home video label. Today we've got a home video label, but we don't have our own distribution set up. We didn't look at that as being a financially feasible model, especially when we were making the slate of movies that we were. And you had a lot of entities whose business was specifically home video, to be able to take your movie forward and distribute it in the most effective way. And basically for you were able to monetize the entire film upfront. So we realized that we'd rather focus on production and theatrical distribution, as well as the marketing and the syndication of our movies. The home video business we'd rather leave to the experts who were into that business, and that was their sole sort of business.
Okay, what are the revenue streams for UTV?
The revenue streams for UTV are the same as they are for all the other studios. You've got Indian theatrical revenue, you've got overseas, you've got satellite, you've got home video, you've got music, and you've got a lot of the other ancillary rights that are coming up there, which are pay-per-view and VOD and IPTV, and a lot of the other new technologies that are really contributing to the revenues of movies today.
I believe UTV was also supposed to produce Imtiaz Ali's Rockstar. Now it's, I think, gone to Eros and also. What exactly happened?
Actually, it's always been with Eros. We were in talks with Imtiaz at one point of time to make a film. That did not finally reach sort of a stage where we had gone ahead with the film at that point of time. But I hear he's making it with Eros, and really good luck to him. He's one of the most amazing filmmakers that we have, and I'm really looking forward to that film.
2010, you guys are having, I think, two of the most commercial films of this year, Maar Khan and Thank You. Anis Bazmi is an out-and-out commercial director. Something about those two films.
Those two films, as you said, are complete all-out commercial, masala entertainers, and that's what they're going to be. Maar Khan, I think we're sort of reading about every day. We know it's one of those complete, like sort of entertaining Farah Khan movies. We've got a 24 December release date. It's a fabulous release date, and it's the right film for that sort of festive period as well. Thank You, we'll be looking at releasing in the first 3 or 4 months of 2011. That is basically Anis Bazmi doing what he does best. You've got a great cast. You've got Akshay Kumar, Bobby Deol, Sunil Shetty, Irfan Khan, Sonam Kapoor, Selena Jetli, Remy Sen. You've got a fabulous cast. And it's a rip-roaring entertainer, fabulous script. We're shooting in Canada right now.
Yeah.
And the cast is having a fabulous time on the sets. And it'll show in the film.
Fantastic. That was Siddharth Roy Kapur talking about all the plans of UTV in 2010 and early 2011. And they've got some really interesting projects which are coming up. And I'm sure that we'll be hearing a lot about all your movies. And thank you very much for being on Bollywood Hungama.
Thanks so much.
And all the best wishes.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.